The following episode of TOFOP is rated MA. It may contain Batman references, time travel references, sexual references, lost trains of thought, and mild coarse language. TOFOP advises that the program is not suitable for anyone under the age of 15, or anyone who enjoys succinct, coherent conversation that might actually have a point. Minors must be accompanied by a parent, guardian, or priest. This is John Deek speaking.
Everyone relax. This is TOFOP. I'm Charlie Clausen.
I am Wil Anderson. Hello.
Oh, Will, you sound a bit sore.
Oh, Charlie, can you hear it in my voice?
Yes, you sound broken.
Yeah, I am. Well, partly I'm broken because I loaded up with like about 8 painkillers over the last 24 hours. And, you know, sometimes you just feel when you've had a lot of painkillers like you are walking through, you know, just wet cement.
Marshmallow.
Like everything that you're doing. So I've got a little bit of that going on. But also I fucked my shoulder really badly. And I thought it would get better maybe overnight, but it seems to have got worse overnight. So I'm going to see someone this afternoon about it, but it's causing me quite a deal of pain.
Describe the injury and then tell me how you did it. Is it around the sort of shoulder blade or the top of the shoulder?
Yeah, so sort of shoulder neck. So one of those sort of injuries where like it's fine.
As Gorilla Monsoon might say, the trapezius muscle.
Yes. And you know, one of those ones where you'll be feeling fine and you will just be going, oh, it's okay. I think maybe it's gone away. And then you will just move 1 centimeter and you're like, oh, no. Yeah, it's right there still. It's very, very painful. Yeah, that's right. Ow. And I'm doing a lot of home remedy at the moment. Like I'm doing a lot of that stuff of like rubbing it in the hope that might just make it better.
Heat pack, cold pack, all that kind of stuff. You got the wheat pack on it?
I've been leaning against walls. I've been hanging from doors. I've been going around this Airbnb I'm staying in Adelaide and trying to find places that I can hang off without breaking the door.
That would be amazing if you ended up breaking your back trying to fix your shoulder falling from a door frame.
Turns out he is not a doctor.
Yeah, the maid comes into your room and she's like, uh-oh, we've got another Michael Hutchins thing going on here. And you're like, no, I'm just trying to fix my shoulder. Yeah, sure. It just so happens that you just come back from your bathroom, you're taking your belt out of your pants, and you're like, oh, I might stretch my shoulder.
But the worst thing is that I did it sleeping.
Oh, wow. Wow. Go on, Bear Grylls. Tell me about your latest adventure. Well,
here's the thing, Charlie. You laugh at me now, and fair enough, laugh away. But you turned 40 this year. And what you haven't realized about turning 40 is, and Michael and I were having this conversation just before we went on air, and I was saying it's so embarrassing because I hurt my shoulder so badly while I was sleeping. And Michael said to me that once you're over the age of 40, it is a perfectly legitimate excuse to say, I injured myself while sleeping. It happens. You just sometimes wake up and you go, I'm old.
All right, I'm pitching you a new idea. It's a reboot of Nightmare on Elm Street, a new reboot, but it targets specifically men over 40, and there's no actual Freddy Krueger. It's just every time the guys go to sleep, they wake up with an injury.
Yes.
1, 2, cramps coming for you. 3, 4, you're going to trip over going for the bathroom door. 5, 6, have some Nutramix. 7, 8, gonna stay up and watch Late Line.
And 9, 10, never sleep again, because that is actually true. Because I can't sleep now, because I get into a comfortable fucking position and then I move 1 centimeter and I'm awake. It is my Nightmare on Elm Street. You're right.
Wow, that's awful. That's awful.
No.
Was it a vigorous dream you were having? Can you remember the actual movement? Did you wake up suddenly, or did you just wake up and your neck didn't move?
I I can't remember what it was in the dream, but from the pain I'm having, I feel like, what's the sort of thing I might have been doing in a dream? Okay, you know what it might
You
have
sleep
been?
with your arm behind your head. Sometimes that happens to me. I put my arm behind my head and then I wake up, my arm's numb.
Mate, that's guys like you who are in good nick like you, and you know that if you lengthen out, everyone will be able to see your abs more if you've got your arm behind your head. I know your fucking business.
Yeah, right.
Keep Skype open on his computer just in case people are spying in. Anyway, my arm's just back here behind my head. No, I reckon here's what I reckon it probably was. The injury feels like Australia's been playing in India in the test match in India, and it's been a 2-test series, and it's obviously been a big one for the spin bowlers because of the sort of pitches they have in India. And I think that I've had a cricket dream. I feel, It feels like I've bowled 50 overs on a dust bowl against the Indians. Like, you know, there's been an injury mid-game and they've brought me in as the sub, and I've been bowling my offies. But because I haven't had a bowl for a few years, it's the next day now after my triumph at 9 for 18, and I can't get my arm over anymore.
Well, that's perfect, because if it is from a cricket dream, then you should just treat it like an old school cricketer, like a cricketer from the 70s. You should just have a VB as soon as you wake up. No. Just put a lump of ice on it and a VB. You know, all the photos of all the old cricketers are always drinking piss.
Right, and you'd also have like a couple of VB cans just strapped to it instead of an ice pack. You're just like, I'll just take those off when I'm ready, when I'm finished.
That's what happened with Booney every time he went to the metal detector at the airport. They'd lift up his shirt and you just have like 47 cans strapped to his body.
I mean, that's the weird thing, is that I did wake up this morning with a mustache that I couldn't explain. So maybe there is a chance.
Dirty Sanchez, Will. That's the answer.
Yeah.
I too, I have a pre-40s injury, but the way I got mine is so much more embarrassing because I'm staying in your flat in LA, and I've been trying to get to the gym, but sometimes I just don't have time. So I've downloaded this app. It's like a personal trainer app where you just sort of program in what you want to do, and then this little video says, hey, now like do this exercise, and at times and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm all fine with like normal exercises, push-ups, sit-ups and stuff. But then in the mix, it started throwing these like martial arts moves, like, you know, front kick. I'm like, okay, I can do a front kick. Then it's like side kick. I'm like, yeah, okay, I can do a side kick. I should add, I'm in my underwear in your living room at this point, and to describe your living room, it's almost like a studio apartment. It's a big wide open space, and so open plan living dining area. I had like the blinds open, and I was in the middle of your living room in my underpants, not really considering what was going to happen, because then the next one is do a spinning kick. Now, look, before your hip thing, you might have been quite an accomplished martial artist, Will. I've only known you for about 15 years, but I am not. And so the front kick and the side kick, I'm okay at. But then, like, I'm watching a little video demonstration, and it's doing this like spin kick, and it's the best way I can describe it. Do you remember in the first Lethal Weapon, where Mel Gibson's just arrived at the police station, he's getting to know all the other cops, and he's showing the cops like how to do a spin kick? Actually, it might be from Lethal Weapon 2. I might be mistaken, but there's a scene where he's showing one of the other cops how to do a spin kick. So I'm like the old cop who doesn't know how to do the spin kick. I'm trying to like get my leg around and stuff. And then finally, I think I should just need to put a bit of oomph into it. So I do the big spin. I'm standing on your rug. My foot gets twisted up from the rug, and I just pirouette around in my underpants, and then starfish onto the ground, bum to the window.
A couple of things I love about that. Firstly, as we've previously established, you know, my neighbours downstairs are a little worried about there being too much sound from the apartment up above. So that's really helping. Thank you.
I was on the rug, mate. I couldn't hear a thing.
Secondly, as we've previously established, Dolph Lundgren probably lives in the building. So he would be doing those sort of exercises, I imagine, all the time.
Well, here's part 2 of my story. So I didn't realise you had a gym on the top floor. Gemma only pointed that out to me like today. So I've gone up there, and there's this big, like, heavy martial arts bag. And I'm like, oh. And I started looking around that top floor, and I started thinking, oh, this is like the big apartments. They probably have like sort of penthouse apartments on this top floor, because it's kind of like a different section. They do, right? I'm looking at this big bag and all the weights, and like, I reckon this is where Dolph works out. So I'm going to give this heavy bag a bit of a go. I'm going to see if I can do that spin kick again, get the personal trainer app going again and stuff. Mate, the last hour, my left hip is so sore. I don't know what's happened. I was kicking with my right leg, but I feel like I have like a cricket ball in my left hip now. I don't know if I've dislocated or what, but that was just me trying to do a spin kick on a heavy bag.
Well, here's the thing, Charlie, because I'm a bit of a hip expert. Firstly, I would say if your hip's too sore, there's some medicine in the drawer. That's my professional slogan. If your hip's too sore, the medicine's in the drawer.
3, 4, the medicine's in the drawer.
I've got some specific hip medicine for you right there, so that's lucky.
Good.
It's a great place to do a hip injury, my apartment. But secondly, I will tell you that it's not dislocated, because if it was dislocated, I dislocated my hips once. It was
I didn't seriously think it was dislocated.
It is one of the most incredibly painful things that'll ever happen in your life. So
how did you get it back in?
Well, the doctor had to eventually. I couldn't do anything about it.
How long was it dislocated for? I actually feel a bit sick.
Oh, it was horrible. I was up in Byron Bay. I dislocated it running on sand. So
Hang on, how long ago? How long ago was this? Was this recently?
No, like 12
Like in the last
years
10 years?
No, 12 years ago. It was before when I discovered that I had osteoarthritis in my hips. And that was why we were confused for a while, because I dislocated it. It turns out the two were connected, but we didn't know that at the time. We just thought I dislocated my hips running on the sand, because I was running on like soft sand, and I just must have stepped in some way, and whatever the fuck, what happened. So I've got back to the apartment that we were staying in on the beach, and then I lay down and I could not get back up. Like, even to get me to hospital, like, they had to lay me in the car. Like, they probably should have got an ambulance, but we thought we could make it in the car, but I couldn't. But I couldn't sit
For
up.
some reason, they sent the hospital's motorbike. And you're like, this isn't going to work. You have to fold yourself in half over the back seat.
It was a motorbike with a sidecar, so they just laid me on the sidecar. They sent a panel van, and they just put me on the surfboard racks up the top.
They just sent a bike and put you in one of those surfboard holders, those two hooks that kids put on the sides of their bikes.
They said the ambulance is out right now, but we can probably get an Uber. It's actually an Uber Eats. We've ordered a pizza, but they will pick you up on the way.
We don't have an ambulance, but we've got 4 kids with skateboards.
Right.
Now, if they move at the same speed, you should be fine. That would be horrible. How long? Yeah. So how long from it coming out to getting to the hospital and getting put in?
Hours. It was pretty painful. And even when I went back in, then there was like 6 weeks of it just still really, really hurting pretty much all the time. It was terrible. It was
you've heard that urban myth about the dude, the footballer, dislocates his hip, and then the runner comes out and puts it back in, and he screams even harder, and they worked out that his testicles had gone into his hip cavity. Have you heard that story?
Man, even if I have...
I don't know if it's true, but...
I feel like I have heard that, but I feel like my brain has done that thing to preserve myself, like women don't remember childbirth pain as accurately as it was, so you can have another kid. I feel like you can constantly tell me that story over and over, and each time my brain will erase the memory of that image, because that is horrifying.
It's like that story is specifically designed to make men cry.
Right. It's like, no, thank you. No, thank you. I didn't even consider that was a possibility when my hip was out. Can you imagine if we tried to put it back in and my ball sack was also caught in there? Oh my God.
Actually, Mike Howell, can you do a bit of just Wikipedia research? Or not Wikipedia, just Google it. Just find out, can your testicles get into your hip socket?
Right. Can testicles get trapped in hip socket?
I wonder if you typed in, can testicles get trapped in, and then what the top 5 searches would be.
Yeah, that's good. Let's go through the top 5 searches when it comes up.
Mike Al, can you do that for us?
Okay. Snopes says no. Okay, there you go.
So it was an urban myth. Well, that's good. That means it never happened. We can sleep easy. Well, I can sleep easy. You can't. You got a sore neck.
And I've got wonky hips, and I'm now terrified. Because maybe it hasn't happened yet, but maybe it will happen at some stage. Good on Snopes, though. It's good to have Snopes there to be able to check these sort of things.
That would be a fun assignment. Actually, it would be a bad job to be a debunker, would it? Like if you get... I mean, how would Snopes work? I guess they'd have like contributors and they would get assigned certain urban myths.
Yeah, I think they were quite a small operation originally. It was just a couple of people who kind of did it as their pet project, I believe. But yeah, now it's growing, obviously, because there's so many things to fact check these days. That
Yeah, fuck, man. It's crazy.
When they started, it was a hobby. But they really got in at the right time. They did not know that people just completely making up facts and lying about things all the time was suddenly going to become a boom industry. They had a little boutique cottage industry, and it's turned into a massive thing.
That's the one thing that's struck me about being over here is, just sort of driving around and seeing billboards and commercials, and like fame is such a commodity here. Like even people probably don't realize back in Australia, but even big stars do commercials over here. Like you'll see like fucking movie stars and Tina Fey selling phones and whatever. You just sort of like, oh yeah, that's right. Like, America sort of built this commodity out of fame. But I feel like now we sort of created this thing and it was like our entertainment. It's like, yes, let's have this concept of fame and make people celebrities, and it'll be, we'll just warm our fires around this like entertainment. But then suddenly the genie's out of the bottle, and now fame has been weaponized, and they've just like taken someone who was famous and capitalized on how popular he was, or how we seem to tell it like it is, and now it's just sort of become this like, what have we wrought?
Right. Well, particularly with celebrities, because celebrities have just become, traveling salespeople, essentially, like just flogging the idea of capitalism and commercialism to us. It's one of those things where, particularly in America, America built its system on, capitalism. It's the shining light of sort of the free market and advertising and marketing. And Hollywood's obviously, the number one. Hollywood is the thing that sold America to the rest of the world, right? If we really think about it. So they've always been salespeople. They've been salespeople for America. But I think it's amazing now the amount of advertisements you see over there that like you said, like, just chock full of celebrities and actors now.
Yeah. And I even was talking to this manager the other day, and she was saying that studios now they've got like so many algorithms to sort of determine like a project's success, and they even have algorithms where they will make an announcement about a potential pairing of, say, like a comic book film and a star, and see what the reaction is like online, and from that develop an algorithm to go, oh, like Channing Tatum. Yeah, people like the idea of Channing Tatum as Gambit. That's great. Okay, we'll go with that. But then if they say, hey, we're making a female Ghostbusters, they're like, I don't know, let's make it anyway. See what happens. But it's interesting because she was talking about, as much as she, with her clients, is sort of loath to, encourage sort of like social media if that's not in their makeup. She said it's actually, fan engagement and stuff. That's how things get greenlit now. And, she said she sort of has that appreciation for that Daniel Day-Lewis type movie star or whatever, who just wants to come and do their job and get out. But more often than not now, that is not a prerequisite, but at least like a consideration. If you're deciding between two stars of about the same kind of wattage, but one has no social media presence and another has like, 1 million followers on Instagram, well, you got to make a decision. That's not a bad reason to sort of split it down the line.
Yeah, but wouldn't you rather go and see a Daniel Day-Lewis movie almost because you don't know as much about him? You don't have their everyday life colouring your appreciation of them as an artist. Like, I think so often, like, I won't see someone in a film because I don't like that person, because you've seen too much of them in real life. Like, if I had only ever seen The Office, I would still like Ricky Gervais. But I unfortunately followed him on Twitter, and now I can't wait for him to die. And and hopefully find out that there is a God, because I am willing to give up my beliefs in atheism just so Ricky Gervais is fucking wrong about it.
Shit, man. This will get back to him. That dude is very proactive when it comes to responding to people like who make, not like other famous people, just anyone who bags him out. He goes after them. He must search his own name,
mate, because a lot of the time they aren't people who have like put his handle or anything in there. He's obviously just searching through for people saying bad things about Ricky Gervais so he can respond to them publicly. Again, that's another reason why I don't like him.
But wouldn't you argue that it can work the other way, in that there's an actor who you do follow that you like The Rock, or I like Ewan McGregor. I like following on social media and stuff. And there's some projects of theirs that I'm not that interested in, but I like them, so I want to support them. Doesn't mean maybe I won't buy an opening day ticket, but I'll download a film of theirs or something. Like they'll get some custom out of me.
Do you think there would ever be a time, I would love to see this actually, where Daniel Day-Lewis just decides that he's going to go full in on social media?
Yeah.
Like, for so many years he's been a mystery, and then one day just official Daniel Day-Lewis comes up on Twitter and he won't stop fucking tweeting.
Okay, so who's the biggest male Instagram famous person there is? Or social media famous? Not like
Bieber or someone, right?
But no, but like someone who's exclusively like a social media guy. Like, there's that dude that, I don't know, he's like a New York director. He goes around and films things on his GoPro all the time. You know who I'm talking about?
No, that sounds terrible.
He looks like Corey Feldman. He's huge. He's just been hired by CNN. He's this dude who just used to make these videos. Anyway, let's just say there's a Justin Bieber of Instagram or whatever,
Okay.
right? The way to get Daniel Day-Lewis on social media is to cast him in the role as Justin Bieber.
Right.
Because then he's such a method actor, he would open an Instagram account. He'd start posting like little videos of, what he's thinking and what he's having for lunch. And he's just got sent a new pair of shoes. And well, actually, he wouldn't get sent a new pair of shoes. He would make a pair of shoes because, as we know, Daniel Day-Lewis is a cobbler.
Okay, I think you're actually right. You have to cast Daniel Day-Lewis as a social media influencer. And he would be so dedicated
that's the only way to get him on
that
social
he would-
media. Yeah, but once the film's done, he'll delete his accounts.
Right. But up until that point, like constantly on Twitter, Snapchat, Instagramming, he's got his own podcast.
All right, here's what we do. He's the consummate actor. He can play anyone. We cast him as Kim Kardashian.
Right. Oh, yeah. Daniel Day-Lewis is Kim Kardashian.
Kim Kardashian. That is a third Oscar right there. DDL, get your people to call TOFOP. We don't have a phone number, but you'll find us.
Right. If you know where Dolph Lundgren lives, same building. You call Dolph. You probably know Dolph. So you call Dolph, find out where he lives, and through that you can find Charlie all right.
Yeah, you'll find me limping around the gym upstairs with a broken hip.
Is he working again, Daniel Day-Lewis? What was the last thing he did? He hasn't done something for a while.
Lincoln.
Yeah, it must be time for him to come back and
Can
do
we,
another film,
Mike
right?
Howell, could you tell us what DDL's up to?
Yeah.
I know no one calls him that, but I'm going to start it, DDL.
So with DDL,
Yeah.
it sounds like a 2020 cricket league.
Yeah.
Glenn Maxwell made a really quick 20 in the DDL overnight. DDL.
It also sounds like a new party drug too. Man, have you taken DDL?
Yeah.
Oh, it's nuts, man. I thought I had one left foot.
Or it's like for people who are on the down low, but on the down low.
Yeah, right.
Mate, can you keep this on the DDL?
Yeah. I love it.
He's filming an untitled Paul Thomas Anderson film.
Could you think of a more DDL sentence than that? An untitled Paul Thomas Anderson film?
Right. But also, could not an untitled Paul Thomas Anderson film be about Kim Kardashian? Because firstly...
Of course, he's the perfect director for that material.
He'd make a great interpretation of it, commentary on sort of modern society. You cast Daniel Day-Lewis to play Kim Kardashian. That's a very Paul Thomas Anderson thing today. And that's the reason it's still untitled. Because the minute they reveal the title, everybody will know what the movie's about. So they've got to keep it top secret.
Yeah, they've got it. I think when they do the kind of early buzz advertising, it would be more like it would be a KK. I think that they would do sort of like, they'd hint at it. It wouldn't be explicit. Or maybe kind of silhouette of buttocks or something like that. You know, like when before Batman 89 came out, they just released the bat symbol poster.
Right.
But they didn't put the word Batman or anything there. It was just the symbol. You just have like buttocks. So it's a silhouette of buttocks.
Well, that photo that broke the internet, the famous photo
the
of her.
champagne one.
Yeah, that was the one that, allegedly broke the internet. That's the perfect one, right? Because that's obviously what this movie's about, the idea of breaking the internet and modern day fame, right? And so you have the poster and that iconic outline, but up the top it just says, Daniel Day-Lewis is, and then it has just the outline.
Yeah, perfect.
Don't tell me people aren't going to go to that movie.
But I'm thinking earlier in the campaign. We don't want people to get it straight away. I think it's more an obscure something that'll get people talking about. So the KK, was that Kris Kringle? What are we talking about?
Right.
But what other KKs could it be? What KKK?
Yeah, no.
In the current climate, fucking hell.
Yeah, we're the Klux Klan, we drop the coup.
Yeah.
We could never remember if it was coup or clue, so we just dropped that. We're just the Klux Klan now.
We thought it was too uncouth or uncouth. We're not sure.
We're not sure. Just be cool.
So does DDL, famous method actor, apparently for My Left Foot, he refused to, he had to be wheeled onto set and stuff because he didn't get out of character. Does he go prosthetics? Because he has to play a younger Armenian woman. And particularly with her proportions. Yeah. Does he go the whole hog and get like implants?
I mean, I guess like Daniel, that's why he's had so much time off since Lincoln. What do you do with Lincoln? I mean, because Lincoln had a prosthetic nose or something, didn't he?
But he did a funny voice because apparently Abraham Lincoln has a high voice. And so he did it was weird because he would give these speeches, but he sounds like Kermit the Frog on helium. Check it out on YouTube if you don't believe me. Apparently it's accurate. Abraham Lincoln had a high voice, but why does he talk like this, Will? 24 years ago. Since Marvin Gaye.
Look, I imagine there would be a lot of backlash from people going, why did this job as an Armenian woman go to a white man? I can imagine there being some sort of critical backlash to that. So I'm imagining that Daniel Day-Lewis has somehow both made himself Armenian and a woman in preparation for this film.
So is it like Tropic Thunder type stuff where it's like experimental surgery with dyeing skin and implants and stuff? He's got stuff put into him?
Yeah, I think so. Probably got some Armenian DNA inserted as well.
Well, knowing DDL like we know him, for him to commit, like he said about that My Left Foot, why he stayed in character, he's gone, well, this real life person couldn't just get up and walk to lunch. And for me to understand that, I'm not going to let myself just get up and walk for lunch. As long as we're doing this film, I'm going to stay in character. So whatever DDL takes to become KK, he's going to make sure it's something he can't just take off. Like he's not going to unzip his bum, like his prosthetic bum, and go to lunch.
Right.
Like he wants to know what it's like to sit on the buttocks of Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, I can imagine when they had the meeting originally and somebody suggested that he just wears a suit, he just looked at them and goes, do I look like Eddie Murphy? Does this look like the Clumps? I am Daniel Day-Lewis, motherfucker.
This is not Big Mama's house.
Yeah, exactly, my friends. What do you think this is? I am our generation's finest actor and cobbler. Yeah. I do not wear a fat suit.
I imagine at that moment, Daniel Day-Lewis goes like, and his personal assistant runs up and opens a briefcase with 2 Oscars in it, and he just points to it. Take a look. You see there? 2 gold guys, motherfucker. Daniel Day-Lewis. Remember it. Just like Rob Van Dam is like, because I'm DDL.
It would be great if he did we all think of him as this really serious guy, but it turns out in meetings he's incredibly cocky, always bringing up his Oscars, how good he is. And then at the end he signs out by doing the DDL in the Rob Van Dam way out of every meeting.
DDL out.
He grabs an Oscar in each hand and just kind of points them to his head. He spells out the DDL. 2, motherfucker. Drops
Oscar. He's got 3 Oscars. Shit, man.
Shit, man.
If DDL finds out about this, we're fucked. Actually, that would be the biggest get.
Hang on. My Left Foot. Did he win the Oscar for that? He won it
My Left Foot, Lincoln, and
the oil one.
In the name of the not in the name of the father.
No.
My Left Foot. There will be blood in Lincoln.
Yeah, there will be
in
blood.
Lincoln. Yeah, in Lincoln. He would be a perfect get. Like every now and then they take a dramatic actor and give them a comedy role, like, Liam Neeson, suddenly doing comedy, or like when Tom Cruise did Tropic Thunder and stuff. If you could talk DDL into doing something like that, like making, like for Funny or Die or something like that, he's raising money for charity. He just makes fun of himself. That would be priceless because he seems so serious.
Could there be a chance that Robert De Niro style, because let's be honest, Robert De Niro was like a similarly respected actor of his generation, right? And he's gone, clearly in his older age, he's just gone, fuck it, I don't care what I do anymore. I'm the dirty grandpa.
I don't care what I do anymore, and I don't care if you immunise your kids.
Yeah, he's got a few controversial opinions, it turns out. Is there any chance that we'll see that period of a career from Daniel Day-Lewis? Is there any chance that he'll get to 60 and just go, fuck it, I don't need to be serious anymore and try so hard. I'm just going to make some comedies, or I'm going to appear in an Adam Sandler film, or the Liam Neeson route where he just starts killing people. You know, Daniel Day-Lewis's daughter gets stolen and he tracks people down. He could do that, surely.
I get the feeling though, like, I mean, De Niro and Liam Neeson, they kept sort of regularly working. They seem to like working. Whereas DDL takes like years in between films. I think he's happy cobbling or whatever he does in his downtime. I mean, all right, put a business hat on, Will, for a second. Okay, you're his manager and his agent. He's one of the greatest actors of our generation. He only does films every now and then. Because of his pedigree and the fact that he rarely comes to do films, does that mean they can ask for a lot? Or does the fact that he only works every now and then work against him? Because the studio can argue, well, look, fuck, you know, he hasn't done a film in however many years. We don't know if our algorithms don't know if he's gonna make money for us.
Well, I reckon he's probably a pretty good investment, but I think he probably doesn't do big films necessarily that are going to make millions of dollars, so that brings your value down. And I imagine he's a person who probably, as an actor, wants the films he's in to be really good, and if you go in and ask for too much money, eventually that's money that's coming out of making the rest of the film. So I think he'd be reasonably priced. Can we Google what he got paid for Lincoln? That's probably publicly available, right? If we Google what did Daniel Day-Lewis get paid to play Lincoln, what's your guess beforehand? Because that was a Spielberg, right? Is that who that was?
Yeah. I mean, it looks like it's a big budget film. So let's say it's a $100 million film, at least, you'd think?
Okay.
Around about 100. I reckon, oh, geez. I mean, the whole film hinged on him. I reckon he probably got 10 million for that. Between 8 to 10.
Okay, well, let's see if we can find out what he got
What do
paid
you
for
reckon?
Lincoln. Yeah, I would say, $6 million.
Okay.
Actually, maybe, $6 million. I'm going to say $6 million he got paid. But in Lincoln, but no, we haven't found anything, obviously. We both put, no, hard to find. See,
yeah, can you find out how much he gets paid an hour as a cobbler?
What's the standard rate per hour for a cobbler? Is it more or less than being a Hollywood movie star?
Because that would be a great conversation where his agent comes to him and says, look, they really want you for Lincoln, but times are tough, man. Times are tough. They want to pay you $14 an hour. It's like, I get $18 an hour as a cobbler. It's like, I know. It's a $100 million film. Yeah, but Spielberg, he needs all that to put up on screen. Like, are you lowballing me because I only work once every 4 years and I'm a cobbler? Yes, DDL. Shit. 3.9 million.
Oh, there you go. See? Reasonable.
That's half of what you guessed.
I said 6. That's not half.
I thought you said 8. Right. No, I said 8.
Yeah.
Half of what I guessed. Yeah. Sorry.
So firstly, you're not my agent.
I haven't even had any of your hit medicine yet.
Well, I reckon that you're right, though. There is that sort of thing of him going, I'm happy on a cobbler's wage ordinarily, so maybe, I don't really care too much. If I get like $4 million, then, that's still pretty good in cobbling terms. That's a lot of cobbling. That's what he always says at the end when the agent comes back. Spielberg's offered 3.9 and he goes, well, that's a lot of cobbling. So... Out.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'd like to know. I'd like to know if there's ever been a conversation in his career in which some publicist or whatever has been like, "We want to get you on Jimmy Fallon. You're going to be playing Celebrity Head or something like that."
Yeah. How do you feel about giant beer pong, Daniel Day-Lewis?
Yeah. Who's the guy that does the carpool karaoke? James
Corden.
James Corden. He wants to sing some songs with you in a car, DDL.
No, because DDL would then go and live as the artist that they wanted to, he'd get in the car and you'd be like, hang on, are you Adele?
Yeah. So that's right. So DDL...
DD Adele?
DDL.
Are you DD Adele?
DDL, you need to get him on a. If you need to get him on a talk show to promote your film, it's easy.
Yeah.
You just get him to go to like another role. Just go get him to spend time with Chris Pratt or Bill Murray or any of these excellent talk show guests. Like, just say, oh yeah, that's right. You're going to be playing a talk show guest. So we've hooked you and Bill Murray a weekend away playing golf. Just fucking learn from Bill, and then I reckon he could be really good at it.
But do you reckon his wife ever gets frustrated around the house and she's like, hey, how about you get a role as someone who puts the toilet seat down, you dickhead? How about getting involved in the method of doing the dishes? How about that, cobble? How about you do some cobbling at home? You're able to cobble for other people, but there's cobbling around here that needs to get done that you never do.
Where is he married? Can you pull up a bit of DDL info for us? I don't even know what his story is.
Well, he's
What if
such
he
a
has
mystery.
kids?
He's intriguing.
He is intriguing, isn't he? Like, that's what makes him. Like, it's funny. There's sort of parallel careers. You think about someone like Gary Oldman. You know how for the first 15 years of Gary Oldman's career, you weren't actually sure what his real voice sounded like?
Right.
Because every time you saw him, he was a completely different person. DDL has that same kind of thing where it's like, I actually don't really know. He's Irish? Is he Irish?
Here's the thing, mate. This is what you don't get when someone's on Snapchat or social media. This dude is a mystery to us. He was born in London. He's been married since 1996. I do kind of remember he might have been married to someone famous or the daughter of someone famous or something like that. I don't know who he's married to, but yeah, so he's British. I guess Daniel Day-Lewis, that does sound very... And Rebecca Miller is his wife. I don't know who that is.
Don't know. She might be an actress or something.
Oh, is she Arthur Miller's daughter, the playwright, the guy who wrote The Crucible?
Oh my God, this could be a Will.
Yes!
Human internet!
Yes!
Wow.
I've had to go up with one arm because my other shoulder's really sore, but I am celebrating with my one good remaining shoulder at that moment.
Wow. Will takes the title of the human internet. It's 1 to 135. Yeah, but do you think because this manager who was talking about the algorithms was saying, like, she likes going to a film and forgetting that it's her client and just sort of watching them, disappear into the role. And I was like, come on, like, do you ever really, like, we all know when we go into the film who's on the poster. Like, you don't think that's actually Abraham Lincoln. You don't think it's, whoever they're pretending to be. In fact, I would argue more often than not, I'm going to a film to see, it's Matt Damon as like a obsessed, gay man. It's Matt Damon as a secret killer. It's Matt Damon as an astronaut. Like, who they are, or, the reason I go to see their films, it's not, even with the most kind of charismatic actors who are chameleons, like, ultimately, that's what you're going for. It's watching them spin plates.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about that. I don't think, from my point of view, I can certainly understand in those big sort of franchisey films, it's like, Tom Cruise playing a secret agent, or, Tom Cruise playing a guy who makes cocktails or a jet fighter or whatever. I get that. But I think with some other films, I do, particularly like when they're playing a real person, or if it's a compelling, that Spotlight story, for example. Of course, at the start of the movie, you're aware that they're all famous actors, and you're like, oh, well, that's all these famous actors. But there was certainly a point within that film where I really started thinking about them as the characters rather than,
Yeah. It's a willing suspension of disbelief. You go in going, okay, I know that's fucking Mark Ruffalo and Michael Keaton, but I'm going to allow myself to go, oh no, they're news reporters or whatever.
Yeah, but isn't what you're describing acting? Like,
no, it's not.
Isn't all of it? But
it's more.
My point isn't the conceit of all entertainment? Like, no one actually thinks it's the people, right? Like, no one actually thinks it's the people, but you can then see them play that people and those people and become those people.
Of course, I'm not arguing that though. It's more the idea that the reason I go to films is to watch people disappear into roles. I think I don't. I just, that's not why I see films. Like, otherwise, there's a million Netflix independent movies with cast you've never heard of that, you'd probably be more inclined to go, oh shit, you know, I wonder if that drill sergeant was a real drill sergeant or whatever. But you know, maybe with character actors, but that's not how the star system is built. Even with indie films, even with your kind of more think pieces, not necessarily Hollywood films, you know, they package it up with a star. They package it up with a name, not only so investors will put money in and distributors will show your film. It's so people will come see it. So I think it's, you know, Kate Blanchett is amazing and transformed every time she does a role. But that's what I'm paying to see, is Kate Blanchett. Oh my God, she's so amazing. That accent is flawless, and she's really feeling it. Like it's just I think you can't sort of on one hand go, oh, it's a shame they have to not sell their personalities, that films get sold on a star, when that's what the system is. You know, that's what Hollywood is built on.
No, I agree that that's what the commercial arm of the system is. And I agree with you about all that. But the only other counterpoint I would offer is, remember when you see someone who you don't know be great for the first time? I think there is something better about that and that performance, and a way you can connect to it. Sometimes in a way that character becomes what that actor is synonymous for forever. I mean, you think about, what's his name? Taylor... No, what's the guy from Friday? No, who's the Friday Night Lights one?
Taylor Kitsch,
yeah, right? And so like in Friday Night Lights, that character, you don't know him before that. And so he feels like you actually think that Taylor Kitsch is that character, because the character is, you don't have any impression of who Taylor Kitsch is in real life. You know, so you actually you put the character's imprint on the actor rather than the actor's imprint on the character. And I think there is something more special about seeing someone for the first time when you don't have that extra information that does heighten the connection you have with it. Now, that's obviously not sustainable, because you would have to have every movie...
New
New cast. Or you'd have to, like, before you went in, like, have that Men in Black thing that erased your mind. They'd be like, hey, did you enjoy Tom Hanks in this? Well, just take this Rohypnol straight after the movie and you won't remember it, and you can come back and see it again.
But I also think it's the balance of like how these films are made, or TV shows, is that there are character actors who it takes the fucking 10th or 12th viewing before you go, oh my God, that's the fucking same guy from that film where he played like an overweight judge, and now he's playing like a fucking crack addict. And now, you know, because a supporting character's role is not to, you know, be the audience's advocate. It's like they can disappear and do whatever they want. But that's not the way like drama is really structured. Like Romeo and Juliet, like the audience has to buy those two kids, and then all the supporting cast can be as, you know, as extreme or as forgettable or as, disappear into the character as much as they want. But I think that it's often the hero of a story is the most boring one, you know, because there has to be someone going, what's going on now? Who's that wizard? Oh, now I can do this now? Okay, sure, cool. Because, you know, they're the audience advocate. And so that is the role best filled with a dude that you're like, oh, I like that guy from Friday Night Lights. I'm going to go see that film about Mars. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah. No, I'm going to go and see that film about Battleship, based on Battleship. It'll be great, I'm sure, because I loved him in Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, but it was interesting. Him and Chris Hemsworth came up at exactly the same time. Yeah. Probably got the same scripts put in front of them, but it's just like, gee, it's a head scratcher, isn't it?
Well, okay. Well, sometimes it just happens, I suppose.
Well, I mean, could you really blame Taylor Kitsch for picking the Gladiator Mars film over playing the hairless space Viking from another dimension? Like, come on, like when both films are pitched to you, well, it's really fucking just toss a coin, right? They both sound fucking ridiculous.
Right. No, it's a good point, isn't it? Like, with two things that are equally ridiculous propositions when your agent calls you about them, you're essentially both playing, like, you know, weird alien, big budget space movie characters, and one just turns out to be super successful and set you up for the rest of your life. And have you seen Logan yet?
No. Have you?
No, I've been trying to work on my new show, and I thought, at least until my new show opened, that I shouldn't go to the movies, but it's my first reward to myself as soon as it opens officially on Friday night, I'm going to go and see it because I hear it's just great.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. But I did one of those things where a mate texted me last weekend saying, hey, do you want to go see Logan? I said, yeah. But then I got bogged down with work as well. And so I had to sort of cancel. And I said, let's go see it later in the week. And then last night, Gemma and I were out for dinner. And she's like, maybe we should see a film. Maybe we should see Logan. I'm like, I said, I sort of promised. And he's got like a kid, you know, so him getting out of the house, like, you know, it would be a big deal for him to get out of the house. And Jim's like, I'm sure he'd understand. Like, I feel bad. Do you understand that? Like, when you've made a promise to see, I didn't make a promise. We made plans and they cancelled. Then we had made a vague arrangement to maybe see it later in the week. Would you do the same thing?
I just would have seen it twice because I know I want to see it twice anyway. So I'll just be like, let's go and see it. And then I will go and see it again with my friend later in the week.
Yeah.
Because I've already made that commitment. That's what I would have said to Gemma. This was how I would have done it. I would have gone, hey, Gem, I've already made this commitment to go and see it later in the week, so I'm going to have to go and do that regardless. Just so you know, later on you don't have an argument over why you're going to see a movie that you've already seen with this dude. And
3 days ago.
But if you want to see it, I'm more than happy to come and see it with you tonight, and then I'll go and catch it with him again. I'm sure I'll want to see it twice. That's what I would have done.
Well, we actually found a better alternative. We went to the New Beverly last night, which is Quentin Tarantino's Revival Cinema. And we saw Assault on Precinct 13. It was fucking great. It was so... Have you been there?
No, I haven't been. They do really great things there too. Edgar Wright was doing a bunch of programming and a whole bunch of... I've always wanted to go, but I've never made it.
It's old school. Like there used to be, I seem to remember, at least in Melbourne, like more Revival cinemas, like old school 200-seaters where they would show kind of one-off sort of screenings and stuff. Like I must have seen Mad Max at like those Revival cinemas about 4 or 5 times. But they don't really exist anymore. But over here, there's heaps. And this, like, it was great because, I mean, it was nerd central, like real film nerd central. Like I said to Jem, I imagine we're going to hear a lot of cheering for names in the credits and certain lines of dialogue and stuff. Yeah, of course, totally, 100%. Because I quite like John Carpenter films, and this is one of the few I haven't seen. But for people that don't know, it's like I think his second ever film, and it was one of those things where it was it's a cult classic. Will, it was not appreciated at the time, but since then people have come to regard it as like a sort of pioneering sort of action film. And you can totally see the influence it's had on From Dusk Till Dawn, Aliens. Like it's sort of based on an old Western itself, but you can sort of see just the characters and the way, and it was so much fun. But then at the end of the screening, they did a Q&A. They had some of the old cast. It was a bunch of kind of 70s, I guess, exploitation movie actors and the DOP and the producer. And this thing happened where the lead actor was telling a story, and you could tell a few of them were like a bit happy to be like, you know, back out in the spotlight and get to talk about this film they made 35 years ago.
Right, you know, out of the house.
Yeah, and the lead actor answered a question about how we got the film, and he said, "Well, it turns out the guy who plays the supporting role, he was John Carpenter's neighbor, and so he recommended me. We met, we had lunch, and I got the shot." So then, about 20 minutes later, they're asking a different question, and then they come back to this guy, and he was like, "Well, here's a funny story. My friend who played the supporting character in the role, he was a neighbor of John Carpenter, and he recommended me for the role, and so we had lunch with John Carpenter." Like told. But it was identical, like word for word, to the point where I was like, shit, did I just go through a time loop? And then I was like, oh, no. Like, I don't think he was aware that he's just told exactly the same story. It was just like, oh, God.
I mean, maybe it was one of those moments where there was a glitch in the Matrix and you spotted it, Charlie, and you should be aware of guys in suits using public telephones for reasons that you can't explain.
I did see the same black cat pass me twice. I thought that's unusual in the cinema.
I mean, did the audience recognize, like, did they just quietly be cool with it? Or did they... No one laughed or anything like that. Like, it was one of those kind of moments where you're like, oh, just seen an old man moment there. Oh. It was just like, oh, God. But it was great. Like, I want to go back. They have, like, this, like, shitty candy bar where you can buy, like, White Castle sliders and hot dogs that just look radioactive and stuff. But I was confronted with the concept that is common in America, I now understand, but we don't really have back home, which is extra butter on the popcorn. Oh, yeah.
Now, have you seen that shit?
Yeah. It's not really butter. Well, firstly, it's not butter.
It's not butter!
I can't believe it's not butter. I can, because it's not fucking butter. Stop calling it butter.
That is fucking sump oil. That is from a truck that has
It
been
is-
filtered through and dyed yellow. Oh my God.
I mean, it feels like the stuff they would suck out in liposuction. And they've just heated it up and you meant to squirt it on top of your fucking popcorn.
If we did Fight Club 2, that's where the fat that we're sucking from the rich ladies, that's where we're putting it, in the bloody popcorn.
I mean, it looks like something that you go to some really dodgy Bachelor and Spinster's ball and they'd have dwarfs wrestling in it. Like, it's fucked up. You should not be eating it. It is so bad for you. It smells terrible. Like, it's essentially just an oil so that the salt sticks to the popcorn, right? That's essentially the only purpose for it. It's so gross. Here we go. Michael's given us some information here on what it is. It says it's partially hydrogenated soy-based butter substitute topping. See, that's way too many words for a start to describe something you're calling butter. Because soy-based butter substitute topping is not butter.
Is it still butter when it's soy-based? I mean...
Michael's just put up, it says that on the side of the giant bucket it comes in. We've just had an update from Michael because we had a little bit of a pause in transmission, but he did manage to fill us in that the hydrogenated soy-based butter substitute topping, I can't believe it's not hydrogenated soy-based butter substitute topping, it comes solid and you have to put a heating wand into it to melt it even before you put it in these things. It is crazy gross. Firstly, popcorn does not need more butter. It's fine with the amount of butter it has. It is a very buttery, salty snack already. Don't be putting extra butter and extra salt on these things.
But the way that, like, it's literally, it's distributed from like a big hand pump, like a giant sort of hand soap thing, but coming out of it is the very opposite of of soap. It is this guy's bag of popcorn. You know that episode of The Simpsons where Homer's trying to get obese, and it's like, if it doesn't make it transparent, then don't eat it. Like, that's what happened. His popcorn just, like, it was annihilated. The oil hit it and just shrunk down and disintegrated. Then the paper around his bag just went completely see-through, and it's like, mate, don't put that in your body. that should not be in your body.
Maybe he actually thinks it'll work that same way on his body and he'll be able to see inside his stomach. I'll just rub a little of that on my tummy. It'll be fine. Yeah, it's gross. And also, yes, you're putting it into something. Because the other thing is, even that distribution method, the squirty pump thing. Yeah. Because I've tried it. Like, you know, because I like butter, right? And extra butter, that sounded like a good idea until I actually did it. And firstly, there's no even way to distribute it through a giant popcorn. Like, so you just end up squirting heaps of this shit in because you're going to try to mix it around. Secondly, it's going into cardboard. So it basically just drips through it onto your clothes and the seat and stuff, and your hands are all sticky and salty for the entire fucking film. It's a terrible idea. Yeah, and the amount of people who must be rubbing their hands on those seats that you're then later sitting on, and they're just covered in oily hand.
But who's the fucking dude? Who is a guy who has a soy farm and is like, you know what? If we hydrogenate this and melt it down and put it in big tubs, we could sell it to people as butter, put lots of salt in it. I mean, like, how does that get past the FDA?
I mean, a lot of things get past the FDA. Did I tell you that I watched The Founder, the movie about the start of McDonald's? And I really liked it, but it showed me how good subliminal advertising is. Because I have not eaten McDonald's. It's got to be in a decade. I reckon I haven't gone into a McDonald's in a decade probably. And I watched The Founder, and I went to McDonald's and I ordered a McDonald's burger because now they have those create your own taste burgers. So you can put like halloumi in a burger and sort of make a vegetarian burger. And I went there, Charlie, just because of that movie. And here's my report. Yeah. McDonald's, still fucking disgusting. Disgusting as it ever was.
I went and got McDonald's after I saw Super Size Me, which is a documentary specifically about how disgusting McDonald's is. There's a scene where you see the guy eat a burger and immediately vomit it onto the ground. And after that doco, I'm like, I reckon I could go a cheeseburger.
Yeah, I felt ashamed to be there, and I ate it on the way home, and then I felt sick and disgusting. But I like the movie. 3.5 stars.
I like Michael, I worked in a cinema as well. And we didn't have the extra butter, but like the butter that you would, because the way the popcorn machine works is a giant sort of kettle in the middle, and you just fill it with the popcorn seeds, and you put in, it's like an ice cream scoop of lard. It was just this like giant yellow lard. And it sounds like a similar kind of thing. It would come in this giant sort of like plastic tub, and you would just have to scoop it out. But that wasn't the scary stuff. It was the choc tops. We made homemade choc tops.
Oh, okay.
At the cinema I worked at. So essentially your morning would be spent, you just have like a rack, and you just like rack up a bunch of kind of ice creams, so like 50 ice creams. And then we had this big, similar big white tub of kind of like cooking chocolate. And so you would just like carve out a big chunk of that, heat that up. And then you would just spend the afternoon just like dipping the ice cream in the chocolate and then like wrapping it up and stuff. But this wasn't like a kitchen. Like this was the back room of a cinema. It's not like, stainless steel benches everywhere and we're all wearing gloves and everything like that. Literally, like, I'm like fucking making ice cream, licking my fingers, dipping the fucking ice cream in, licking my fingers, like tying it off. I would never eat a choc top. One that's not like pre-made from a machine. I would never eat a choc top from a cinema.
I mean, that is very much like your meth lab scenario, isn't it? You're just out the back. You're like, you don't know what's in this shit. Mate, you're eating a choc top? No way, mate. No way. Never would do it. You don't know what's in that shit, mate. You don't know where that came from. You don't know what standards they have out the back of this cinema where they employ these teenagers. Oh, man.
The great thing about American cinemas is I don't know what it is. Crunch bars? Like it's the rice bubbles with the chocolate on it. They have like mini, like crunch pebbles, I guess. So when you get that bucket of popcorn, then you just pour in the chocolate pebbles. That is the best. That is that's like my new go-to cuisine for cinema viewing over here.
Look at you, fucking Elvis. So you mix the sweet and the savory, a kind of that's what you like.
Have you not done that, chocolate and popcorn together?
No, hey, Charlie, I respect the right of both chocolate and popcorn, and I respect them to be together, but keep it in your own fucking business. Where I'm from, chocolate and popcorn separate. And that's how God wants it, Charlie. I know you're in Hollywood where it's fine to just dip your chocolate in your popcorn.
That's not true. You're a salty chocolate dude.
Yeah,
you were my dealer. You gave me my first ever. I remember you bought these fancy chocolates with salt, and I was like, no, that's terrible. No one's going to eat that. And then, fuck, man, completely changed my world.
No, that's one of those things you've just said that I have only never done because I've never really considered it.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Try it. It will literally blow your mind.
Hey, we should finish up just because I've got to go and see a physio about my shoulder. I know. Yeah. So sad. So sad. But I am currently on tour, so I want to mention that, all around Australia. Currently in Adelaide, still another week in Adelaide once this is up. But then after that, Brisbane Comedy Festival, Melbourne International Comedy Festival, Sydney Opera House, one night only, April 8th with Justin Hamilton. I am going to Darwin, Perth, Wollongong. Anyway, all the dates at comedy.com.au. And of course, we will be doing a live TOFOP as part of the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. That will be on Saturday, April the 15th. And it will be at the Comedy Theatre. Tickets are not on sale yet, but we do have a new poster, which a lot of people have already checked out. It is on our Facebook page. James Fosdyke has done yet another brilliant job with that. So keep your eyes peeled for tickets. And Charlie, is there a way that you could get on a list for first look at tickets?
We have a Patreon site, which is patreon.com/TOFOP, which is basically a way of supporting the show through subscription from any amount, from $1 up to, Will?
$69.99.
No, I said that last week. We need to go higher.
Sorry, that's consistency in what you offer the market, Charlie.
All right, don't aim high. You can support the show at any amount you want. It's particularly handy.
Ask me again.
From $1 up to how much, Will?
$3.9 million, because I don't want you to give any more than Daniel Day-Lewis got to play Lincoln. That is our cutoff.
DDL. It could be an attractive proposition joining Patreon if you are desperate to see our show, because people who are subscribed at $15 or more per month will get first look in for tickets. So even if you just want to join at $15 for this month so you can make sure you don't miss out on tickets, you can always change your subscription level at a later date. But if not, look, we're not trying to strong arm you. I'm sure there'll be lots of tickets available. Last year was a sellout or close to a sellout, I think, wasn't it?
Yes, it was indeed. So, and you know, I would just recommend that when they go on sale, snap them up quickly because it's going to be an awesome night. John Deeks is going to be there with us as our confirmed guest, and there'll be a bunch of superstar guests from around the comedy festival as well. It's going to be a great night.
Yeah, it's going to be Daniel Day-Lewis playing Dave Anthony.
Daniel Dave Lewis.
I'm Charlie Clausen.
I'm Wil Anderson.